join me in welcoming our session moderator, Gaurav Premchandani, JOI Designs. Let's give it up for Mr. Gaurav. Shaheen Mistry Architects. Let's make some noise for Mr. Mistry. Next we have the Wonder Woman in the house, Poonam Mehta, AMPM Designs. The boss lady is on the house. How can we forget Ms. Sonam Gala, KGA. To make some noise for the expert, Mr. Karan Desai from Karan Desai Architecture Design.
So surprises, guys, we have Poonam Mehta. She'll be moderating the session now. It was just a joke to set the mood, right? Great. Thank you so much, guys, for turning up in these numbers. It's a Saturday morning, and I'm sure you all partied last night and still here. So we're happy for that. Thank you so much. So let's start. We're going to talk about the materials, the new age materials. But not only that, we're going to delve into how we process into selection of materials, what is the process of design in our offices. And it's something that we would like, for you guys to take back when you go back from here. So let me start right away. Can't hear me? Help. Can you hear me now?
I think it's your voice.
It's my voice? Do you want me to shout? Okay, let me do this now. Am I audible better, guys? Super. I need some coffee then. So Shaheen, let's start with you straight away. So the first thing, Shaheen, we'd like to know, what is a base material or a palette of materials that you would generally use for every project? What I mean by that is, how would you start your process of selecting materials for any project that you will touch upon?
Hello. Thanks, Gaurav. Good. We're just 1 minute away from good afternoon, I think, but good morning, everyone. I think the material palette is purely based per se each project. I am not very fussy on a certain set of materials that I would use because every project comes with its own challenges and own requirements and own brief. But personally, if you see, I like pastel colors, I like whites. I am a fan of whites, so most of our projects do have whites because I feel it has a sense of timeless elegance and you can really build on to the white palette. But as a portfolio where it comes to interiors, that's where it is. But we do also architectural projects where I love using natural materials. Stone, reclaimed wood are one of my two favorites where I would try and use it as much as possible when needed. But overall, as I said, whites as a neutral with splashes of color which kind of give excitement per se to the project and the requirement.
So coming up back to you, Sonam, on the same question, it's, as Shaheen explained his favorite materials, could you delve into what will be your process in the sense of, conceptualizing a project and where does the material selection fit in that process?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here. To answer your question, I would say that honestly, space is the first thing that we look at when we're designing a house or an office, because I feel like light, windows, opening, closing, everything makes a lot of difference. And depending on that, your color selections and material selections do come in play. Also, the client brief is also a very integral part of designing. Based on all of that, whether you need an open space or a cozy environment, I think a lot of these factors also depend on selection of materials and colors. Let it be like a marble or let it be like a concrete flooring. But I think all of these kind of play a very important role on what the client brief is and what the space is.
Great. That's a wonderful insight. Poonam wants to add in something. I'll give you my mic. No? You don't want to add in?
Okay, let me add something to when we get a project, I think just taking from what she said, the space, the client brief, etc. I think apart from just when we say form follows function, we can also talk about where at my firm we're trying to kind of expertise on the pattern first that will eventually follow a material. So we start to lay out a pattern, we start to work with shapes and forms, etc., and then eventually decide what the material should be.
Like
And
what will technically work.
yeah,
right?
what will technically
Great.
work, and then sort of experiment on, and then look at all the varieties of that particular material. I think that somehow just brings in a more innovation than just kind of fix it on a material and then, I mean, there are ways to do it to each its own, but that's the way we kind of function.
So I'll still want you to be there and ask you another question. While you spoke, just about the selection of material for you depends on what the form of your design is, right?
Yeah.
So what takes priority for you and when you start to design a project? Is it the functionality or is it the aesthetics? How would you, prioritize between that? Somewhere I just want to stay with functionality and somewhere you would say, oh, you know what? Doesn't matter. I want to be aesthetic here. I want to look good here. Doesn't matter if my feet hurt. I want to wear some Gucci heels. So how does that work for you?
Exactly. So there is, like you just said, somewhere there is functionality where you give in to what is really important, but somewhere definitely aesthetics is something that we take over. Every corner of the house, talking about residential, there is functionality, which is a pretty classic of what one needs in the house. And of course, then there is an add-on of what the clients want. But eventually, then they're definitely looking at an aesthetic and they're looking at a feel. They're looking at something that's more beyond what functionality is. They're definitely looking at something that is more emotion and feeling, and that to me is more important, and which we may call it aesthetic, is definitely brings in the character to the design.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
The accent,
definite-
right?
The accents, yeah. So why not play with that, and then that's the way you kind of stand out differently from one project to the other.
Let's touch upon Karan on this. Karan, what do you think about the same thing?
Could you repeat the question for me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, of course. I can.
Karan's like, okay,
So he already got bugged, right? And he's out of the space.
repeat it.
Okay,
No,
sorry.
so, coming back, Karan, my question to her was, what is more important for you when you design any space? Is it functionality or is it aesthetics? How do you approach that point?
Oh, nice question. I would say functionality for sure, because at the end of the day, I totally believe in this, that you're not the person who's living in that house. It's the client who's going to stay. So you make sure that it is extremely functional, but you're a designer for a reason, right? So it's not aesthetic or functionality.
It's problem
It can
solving.
always go hand in hand. You
Absolutely.
can be extremely functional, and it can be extremely beautiful product or a space that you design for them. So this is where I am, like both on one plate.
Right. So, what we look at generally is the takeaway from this question is that we don't just, ponder upon one thing when we design. We don't ponder upon one situation where I need to look good or it needs to be functional, right? We need to find that right spaces where we need to look good, right? We need to find the functionality within that, and we need to marry it and give it a output, right? Great. So, just coming back, back to you, Shaheen, on this. I know you already mentioned about it, so again, I come back to you that everybody has a signature style, right? Or someone has a signature color palette, right? Like you said, right? Whites are my color palette, neutrals are my color palette. But then, what is your signature style? Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay. So as a
I see a project. I know. Yeah, this is Shaheen. So.
You may not be able to notice a project as a Shaheen Mistry project because every project is different in its way and we don't like repeating our styles in project. But what we definitely believe is that word which I initially said, timeless elegance, is in today's times. I remember when we did my first house 20 years back, I said, the client told me I want my house to last 50 years or 100 years. Today, people are changing houses in 5 years. So the adaptability to staying in that house, I think, is we don't believe in marble-cladded walls or we don't believe in fixed assets where it's becoming difficult to change. Because every 2 years, based on Instagram, styles change, color palettes change. Giving flexibility to the client to breed and grow the house is something that we really believe. So we may have signature pieces, but the walls and the general palette is more neutral, playing around, of course, with splashes of colors. So with minimal changes, the client can really adapt or change styles without really burning their
Over the
pockets.
time.
So that's
Over
what
the
we
time.
really believe. Yeah, that's what we really
So,
believe.
so what Shaheen means here is he simply says that timeless elegance is something that works really well for him. That's what something he ponders upon. And apart from that, his color palette is more of neutral. Sonam, how would you like to add on that?
There's something about this color blue that attracts me, and maybe
Sure.
I get attracted to that color more often than ever thinking what this is going to be. By default, at the end of the project, there is this blue color that comes in. There's this blue color that gets added in the project, and it's not like I do it purposely, but I think like when painter will come and tell me, we come to know this is your house because there's a blue color, and then I realize that, yeah, you're right. So I think there's something about that color. And secondly, I think a thoroughly detailed project is something that that's our forte. I think we spend a lot of time on site and give all the details there if needed, because I think sometimes your paper and your CADs don't do that justification. It's always best to go and see, and I think it's something which I feel like that's more of a forte for a company, and color is just basically me. So yeah.
Great. So in this modern day and age where we have our country is huge, and we are doing projects sitting in Bombay. I believe all of us are from Bombay. Poonam is from Pune, but she also has an office in Bombay. We are somewhere preferred across the country. The designers or architects or consultants from Bombay, in my opinion, work right across the country. We go everywhere. But you still believe that in today's day and age, that a personal touch is very important. And that personal touch is not only design. The personal touch is also going to the site and getting things done right? So some core principles never go out of the trend, right? They always stay there. Karan, what do you think about that? Do you want me to repeat the question? No.
Well, you said a lot of things. I want to know what do I have to answer? Just tell me.
Speak your heart, man. Speak your heart. No, I asked her that, what is your signature style?
Oh,
I asked this to Shaheen, and then I'm coming back to you on that. Do you have any color palette that we could see and distinguish it? This is Karan's product.
Like Shaheen said, I love to not repeat things, okay? But one thing that you will find in our projects is the quirk, that quirkiness.
Amazing.
And something which is not seen, And I always feel that if you see something like that, first thought, I'm sure there are so many people who think like me, right? But when you see something innovative, something used differently, or something different, okay? You could hate it or you could love it, okay? That's besides the point. But when you see something like that, the first thought will be, shayad ye Karan ka ho sakta hai. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So that's where we play.
Wonderful. So, 3 grades and we have 3 different perspectives. Isn't it amazing? Let's touch back to the lady boss. What do you think, Poonam? I'll not repeat the question for you.
No, I get it. I'm following the whole conversation.
Everyone
Karan.
is, I'm sure.
So am I, but I was just trying to be clear on what I'm asked, okay? So
I just plotted that now.
Our design philosophy from the very beginning has been understanding the client. And when I say understanding, we go very deep in sort of really getting the personality out. For the first few meetings, we don't talk design. We say, let's meet for a coffee, which they find damn unusual. So we've had a couple of coffee dates.
They feel you're
Those are the
flirting
kind
with
of
them.
coffee dates I go after marriage. So to even like currently we're doing our project where the client is from Dubai and we're building their retirement house in Pune. Akash and the team went and stayed with them for 2 days in their house. Just to kind of understand how they function, because this is their retirement home. They're very passionate about what they want, and now it's too late to sort of adapt to something. They've been living a certain way, and just that meeting and then back, and then we send them renders, and they were like bang on. So for us, bespoke design, which resonates with the client's personality, a house that just talks them, is where we won.
So Lady Boss is flexible. she tries and she does her best to read her clients,
Yeah.
read their style, understand them, and then provide something best for them, right?
So I will add that I have done psychology as my graduation and then moved into interior design. So maybe that sort of is the reason I choose to do work this certain way.
So right now I'm feeling a little left out, and I'd like to add in few points.
So Gaurav, what do you think?
Yeah, so there are 4 of them, and they come, with a residential and of course many more other portfolios, but we have a different thing going on for us. At Joy Design India, we say 80% of our portfolio is hospitality, where core work is designing hotels. And what happens there is, and over the time, initially for us it has been following the brand standard. Like every segment of a hotel, like there are various segments: budget, right? Then there is mid-market, then there is luxury, then there is uber luxury, then there is a luxury resort, then there is a luxury hotel in city. It's all different. So every time when we approach a hotel, we go back to the roots, and those roots then are business. What is the demand of that market? What does that market need? What are the guests, going to demand when they come to this place and spend their holidays? It's not money. You see, money and holidays is very different. Everybody can spend money, right? But not everybody has the luxury to go out and holiday for 7 days. So we need to make a hotel for them where they would really enjoy. So from residential to how it functions differently in hotels is something that, to delve upon. All right, so Karan, let me start with you. Do you have a favorite material?
Not really, but current favorite is marble, because I don't know if you guys know, I play a lot with marble.
Yeah.
We've created our monsters, we've created our Matilda collection, and why this material is because there are thousands of manufacturers who are playing with wood, metal and perhaps somewhere resin and all of that. And stone is like an age-old material where people used to make houses and sculptures and all of those. It's just forgotten. And at the most that you see today, stone is like what, a wash basin or a fountain outside. So we took, of course, you see a lot of West doing stone for a longer time. But in India, I feel that it's a very understated material. And to give those organic forms, giving it a functional value, like a nightstand, a chaise lounge, a bar, everything that you could think of, a lamp, a table.
Right.
So this is what I've been exploring lately.
So you love to create statements with stone at the moment.
As of
at
now,
the
yes.
moment, right?
Yes.
How about you, Sonam, on that? Apart from blue. We know blue already.
I'm going to be really biased, so it's going to be veneer wood for sure. I think that's one material that can make a space, give you warmth, give that sort of a luxury. I mean, even if you're using it with, say, tiles, if you use wood, I think it gives that sort of very chic quotient to the space.
So timber is your thing to go to, right?
Yeah.
In an authentic form of solid wood or probably veneer, right? Great. Shaheen, how about you on that?
So as Karan said, there is no favorite, but I must say I love the pieces that you do. And as a company, we've actually started taking material into a different level. As architects or designers, till lately, very few people take a material and really go in depth. Either we use marble as a cladding, or as he's saying, you see it as a wash basin or veneer as a wall. But today, a lot with technology is possible that you can do with the material by itself. So you don't look at marble as a slab and you look at it as a block. And when you start looking at it as a block, your thinking and your dimension changes totally. So lately as a company, we've started experimenting with clay. I don't know why.
Wonderful.
Because I feel one is, I want to give my team the opportunity. So we've actually got these clay modeling packs. And whether it's starting with small furniture pieces or designing a piece of a light, as small as things, but using the material properties as itself and seeing its strength and versatility, try and create. Because that's what I think we designers are here for. We want to really experiment and not just use the material what the vendor gives as in form. But that takes time, that takes R&D, which is, I think, important in today's time. And giving that opportunity and learning is, I think, fantastic. So at the moment, clay is our to-go material to really see what can be done.
Amazing. Poonam, how about you on that?
I think it's a combination of a lot of materials, like we just spoke. But my favorite would be anything with textures. I love fabrics. I love wall coverings that have tactile textures, different sort of embossing. You have so much that is going on with the technology, and even now you have these embossed CNC cut veneers, which are very interesting for various surfaces. So just anything with texture, and definitely wall coverings is my thing. We work with artisans, and like I'm working right now on a project where many years ago I collaborated with a fashion designer. We had, we didn't have that option before. We had like wallpapers, and we wanted her to sort of do embroidery. So she said, okay, give me something with a printed fabric, and then we'll do embossing on it. So she made, with beadwork and embroidery, we created these, little birds and in illustrations on it, and that just became the bed back for the client. I think that sort of experimentation with various sort of materials, anything textile, is my favorite.
Just to add, I mean, the whole excitement when we did a stall up for Arte right now at the, I don't know, ID. And I told my team, I didn't want my team to really use wallpaper just as cladding. So we actually draped it as a sari around a mannequin.
Wow.
And we got these fashion design students to do it. So, I mean, just thinking of that material in a different manner gave so much excitement to the team to do it.
Yeah.
So it's just small things like this. I think it's the willingness first to experiment with the material and take that extra effort. And once you start enjoying it, the boundaries are limitless.
Yeah, I think when you achieve that product and the entire facade comes together, you're just the excitement is definitely more than just cladding something.
And it was such a simple thing, but you should see people were just crowding around that to just appreciate it. Which was funny because I didn't think it was very different, but the way it turned out, it was a very different idea that wallpaper can be used in a different way.
Wonderful. So, a quick question, to all of you, probably an answer in 1 or 2 words, something that I would love to ask you all is that, like Sonam said, she loves to use timber, right? And Karan came back with marble, and they all said that they want to use it in different forms, right? This is all about, when we spoke about this, it's more of, I see it in a way of, more of accent. Now let's get back to, one of your projects where you have a tight budget. Do you still try to stay authentic? When I say authentic, the point is that, do we go and use composite materials, or do we stay true and try to use materials which are absolutely natural and stay authentic? Anybody can take on, no problem.
I think what does it define being authentic? There is so much that is in material. Just by using natural materials, if I'm authentic, I would not, I don't think that sort of is fair.
A barrier for you.
Yeah, we have fantastic, fiber materials and that work out so well for outdoors, because you're working with different sort of temperatures. Like I'm doing project in Jaipur, which is completely different, which is something which I'm doing in South, where the humidity levels are extremely high.
True.
So you need to understand what works. There's a client who wanted gold all over. She's from South, and it was by the beach. We needed to tell her that, listen, there has to be a reality check on what you're asking. You can't be putting brass all over. So again, there are amazing finishes that sort of lock in those textures now. So why not use technology and some newer materials? Printed tiles, fantastic combinations you can create with that. You design a graffiti, you design what you want, and they'll print it on anything. And that tile can just become your base for a pool, or for, So I guess that there's so much technology which is not expensive and doesn't have to be natural, and it still sort of is authentic.
Great. So, Karan, on you back. Can you think of one trending material? Like, this is trending today. Everybody wants to use this material. Something which is beyond stone, veneer, wood.
I've seen this bamboo fiber sheets. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm I'm spelling it right. They're like beautiful stone veneers, or like marble veneers and all that.
Yeah.
Composite sheets which are doing wonders, but I haven't used it yet.
I've used them. It's
how is it?
cool.
Good?
It's pretty cool, yeah.
Oh, okay. Also, I don't really fit into this is the trend, let's work it out or whatever.
All right.
I believe
Shaheen, how
what I
about
do
you on
becomes
that?
a trend.
So I've been
Did you guys just Ignore what I just said.
No.
They stopped you.
Okay.
I gave you a buffer to not to stress, so
I
was being nice to you still, but go ahead.
bol diya yaar. You guys didn't acknowledge it. You have to say
Shaheen,
like,
over
"Oh,
to you."
yeah."
So I've heard about this new material called mycelium, which is the root of the fungi, which is kind of the talk of the town right now. It's more biodegradable, biocomposite, which I'm really keen on exploring because it has certain biodegradable properties which makes it sustainable. It has beautiful textures which can be used as maybe stone, wood, fabric. It has given you all these textures and it's lightweight and sustainable. I don't know, that's why.
I think it's the same thing.
So could be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the
It's
same
a more
thing.
complex word. What
Yeah.
Mycelium. That's the actual word.
We made it like a
Mycelium.
living room discussion by far now. already.
Mycelium.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's interesting, I mean, to explore, and it's good to see a lot of young firms actually experimenting with these things, which helps us take it further as a design element. So it's still in.
So, Shaheen, how often do you feel a need or an urge, or how often do you step out in the market, or how often do you, step out of the country probably also to visit a fair, especially just to find new things?
So I do it a lot. I have not probably stepped out of the country because I feel those dates always clash with something with me. But I think with the social media so open, you automatically know what's happening around. We have contacts, we have vendors, we have friends dealing in those things. But I think this market is changing very fast. So stepping out there, not only for me, but for my team becomes that much more important, and you're not glued to only what's seen on your screen and on Pinterest, but actually knowing what material is present around you to use it in the right form. Whether it's veneers, as she said, there is marquetrine veneers coming out, there's laser, there's bendable veneers. So until you really see it, you don't really know how to use it. So it's very important.
So for
I
you,
do it a
it's
lot.
very often that you
Yes,
go
yes,
out. Poonam, how about you?
So we, as a firm, with our associates, we travel once a year to any international fair, be it even art or design or furniture. That's something because again, I think if I am perceiving it, but my associates perceiving it would be very different. So the whole collective design comes together. And are we not already out there with all these amazing exhibitions, seeing a lot? And that...
You definitely are.
Yeah, we're, I think, out there, because these are the opportunities you get where you're seeing so many interesting materials, and it's all in one platform. In one day, you see a lot, and that itself is, I think, enough to sort of get along with your day and start some interesting products.
Wonderful. So, Poonam, still stay there, or I want to ask you, and then maybe follow it up with Sonam is, you guys are doing so much in interiors. Do you sometimes feel that we need to start our own product line?
He's saying, no, don't do that. That's Rowan from Grandeur. He's saying, mat karo, mat karo. I think Karan should answer that, but...
For a reason, I didn't go to him because he would say, yeah, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
He already clarified that he's already experimenting that. How about you guys on that?
So we do a tidbits in our projects, and we don't sort of feel it's a product that could probably work for the entire industry. We try and curate a form, and it sometimes becomes a fun cabinet because, like you said, while it's a functional thing, it can suddenly become a beautifully designed sculptural product. But that's only for that project, and we feel like, okay, this is it, and we move on to the next project. We don't really think of it that, oh my God, we just created a fun... I mean, though my partner Akash brings it up saying, we should curate something, one product, something that's just us putting our 100% on that product for the client. It's just like a little gift, which is, we try, we try, we fail, but not really thought of a product line. But I would definitely venture myself into textiles, and I see that that's
even
my
that's
heart.
a product line in a way.
Yeah, that's a product line, and I think there's a huge miss in India when it comes to good textile, yes, but like good beddings, good cushions and decor sort of things. When it comes to styling, we're always struggling. So that sort of missing part, maybe, I mean, who knows? I'm saying it, I'm manifesting it.
Wonderful. Something is getting manifested on this wonderful panel. How about you, Sonam? No product line, or maybe?
No, if I'm doing a product line, it'll definitely be furniture. Getting, something like Charlotte Perriott has done and which has lasted forever. Definitely do something that justifies the time and space that we're in right now. And maybe for the years to come, you do study that product line. I mean, for me, it's something to last for sure. I applaud the architects from the West, and they've honestly done a fantastic job. It's been over, I think, 50 or 60 years, and your furniture is still an iconic piece of furniture. Honestly, if you do
Absolutely,
it, you do
like Patricia Udoklova. She does amazing furniture, and she's
Exactly.
wonderful at design also.
Yeah.
So when it's happening internationally, why not in India
Yes,
also?
for sure.
Highest buyer of all her products.
All our products, wonderful, great.
So if you do it,
Yes.
you do it right, but I think otherwise.
Yeah, Patricia, Sebastian Herkner, they are wonderful when they bring in their product line. So just to add a little bit on that from the hospitality perspective, so for us, it is something like, for every hotel project, for every project, we try to sometimes bring in a local character, sometimes a brand touch point or something like that. So we inevitably are a lot of times designing a lot of products. Now it may not be furniture because it's just not limited to the furniture. When we have to make carpets, for example, right? So we never, go and pick up a carpet from the from an existing store or something like that, or somebody else's design line. No, there is nothing against it. We can do it one day, but generally we would pick up our own pom-poms, we will pick up our own forms, we'll create a pattern, we'll give it to the factory, and they would run some designs and then strike-offs, and then finally we'll sign it off. So we eventually have a lot of collection of data with us where we have created something, but just that we have not been able to format it in the right way. So in coming time, probably we might, who knows. Like Poonam said, right, she would like to delve into textiles. So this happens with us a lot of times. Every project, once again, I have a color going on, maybe blue, right? So I need tones of blue going on in that same room. I don't want to bring in suddenly maybe a red with that. There's nothing wrong about it. But then what we do is we end up bringing a blue fabric and we customize it in some or the other way. That happens with us a lot. Do you want to say something, Karan?
Yeah, I'd like to add on this.
Please.
So, like how you said and what Poonam said, is that while we were doing the dream project, I don't know if anybody has seen that, we were buying everything Italian, okay? And one fine day I was like, yaar, hum bhi koi Italian se kam nahi hai, right? Why don't I design some products for my client? And he was more than happy for us to explore, and that's when we took marble as a material and we started to design. And then we realized that we already made 5 products for the client in marble, So I was like, hey, this is a good chance for me to make a collection around these products that we made, okay, and launch it. So I feel like us designers, we design, curate, and make something new for our projects every single time. The only thing is we don't just take it out and put it in a catalog saying that this is a piece.
Yeah,
So that's what I just did that. And what I had to do next was I added some more designs. I just had to add some really good 3D renders to my portfolio and make a whole catalog, So I feel it's just easy. And the most important part is where we sometimes feel that, oh, this is a headache that I don't want to take because I'm good a designer, but not into the rest of the things. Although I have taken that path and I have somebody looking after it, but the best is collaborating. Like the number of different brands that we are collaborating today in terms of carpets, in terms of wood furniture, in terms of marble furniture, in terms of lights is unreal. It just opens like a Pandora's box, So I feel like we all are doing products and we should get out there.
Get out there, yeah.
Collaborate with people, okay, and just bring it out, man.
Right.
Collaboration is the key today
Fantastic.
to grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the key.
Absolutely.
So it has always been there, right? Like LC1 and Charlotte Perriott, the 3 of them, they actually made furniture together.
I'll just tell you, this marble products that we made, I'd made a reel. It went viral. Instagram, how it goes, right? Serafini from Italy, okay, must have stumbled upon that reel and they got in touch with us saying that, hey, you do marble stuff. Will you design a product? All right. And that's how we made a product for Serafini, the youngest Indian designer till date, to be picked up by an Italian brand to showcase a product in Salone. Imagine if it was just me thinking that oh मेरे को कल जाकर के सैलून में participate करना है, कभी नहीं कर सकता था. The amount of money that you need, but collaboration is something.
So you made something that got recognized internationally, and then it reached there. So wonderful. 3 cheers to that, guys. Come on, tell us you're awake, man. Thank you for that. Great. So we've been delving too much about materials and stuff like that. Let's talk something that we can't miss talking about today. Technology. How important you think is technology for you in our field, and how do you guys see being used in your projects or in your day-to-day life? Of course, barring softwares or even maybe softwares. Karan, why not you start?
I think it's extremely important, right? Part of our evolution. Imagine जब वो Sydney Opera House बन रहा था, there were like 100 people drafting. Okay, तो तब भी ये same question हुआ रहेगा कि what do you think about technology with AutoCAD being introduced into the market? In our day and age, it's AI that is being introduced, and I think it's an amazing tool to help us grow. Everything I feel is a great help for our success.
I feel technology also material-wise, but also for our communication. We've been doing projects overseas, and I feel like whatever, your Zoom and your Google, it's making things so much easier because our presence is not particularly needed unless it's needed. You can probably work tenfold more and, give your inputs before anything. And I feel that has helped us quite a lot into dwelling into working abroad as well. Makes our life easier. And also I think machinery is available right now, and a lot of thing has changed, and whatever we can do in India. I mean, we've been doing a lot of stuff in India and then, sending it, which is fantastic. It's not like you actually buy from there and use it. And I think I'm really happy and proud to say that I'm an Indian and I'm using these things. Clients are also happy, but yeah, it's fantastic, honestly.
Super. Shaheen, how do you touch upon AI?
So as both of them said, it is an integral part now. I mean, you cannot ignore it. But the only thing is where I tend to worry is dependency, is where I am coming to, is sometimes, you stop using your brain and you're too dependent on that software.
And you lose creativity then.
It's a simple thing like ChatGPT, if I tell you. Yeah. It forms mails, it forms whatever in seconds,
write-ups,
which
whatever.
you used to sit and draft. So you are so dependent on that to close it in a day or close it in 2 seconds that you stop thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so technology...
So we all will become machine dependent.
Yes. So, I mean, our brains are way more equipped, and that personal touch can only come through you being there. But yes, you have to balance both, I would say, in a smarter way to make maximum use and save time and move ahead.
Great. Poonam, do you want to add something on this?
Something on, like you just said, what technology can bring in. I think with one big thing that I feel with site and the way we progress, the time that we have saved over for a lot of things that are happening in the factories. A lot of our, technical stuff that can actually just be so easy, like a CNC machine, for example, with stone, with marble, stone, with
7 dimensions.
Yeah, just
in CNC we could actually, curate any form in 7 dimensions, literally.
That's amazing, isn't it? And that sort of has brought the entire site work. For me, that sort of speed is, I think, it's fantastic. That is where I'm very happy that things are working faster. We can deliver projects way faster than, and everybody's wanting that. They want a house yesterday.
Great. I would just answer something, and I would like to ask you guys to, touch upon that point. So when we do hotels, a lot of furniture is required in repetition, right? We start designing a hotel room. We call it a model room or a mock-up room, right? We make one, we perfect one, and we have like 80% transformed to getting all the joinery work, a second fix as we call it, from the factories. How do you guys, manage to get your furnitures? Do you make in India? Do you look China a lot? Do you look Italy a lot? Or, anywhere in Europe? What's your way of, approaching that?
So I would say it's a balance. It depends on the client, depends on the scale of the flat, the size, and the requirement, and the style. So if some clients want preference in terms of Italian or German fittings, then we of course collaborate with vendors. But most of our flats here in Bombay are not that huge to fit in those kind of furniture. So then it gets more into custom design and custom made, who we have our vendors. And we kind of enjoy doing that because we get involved in it. And as designers, we want, as we spoke a few points earlier, we want to create our own things in some way. Play around with materials, whether it's textures. So I think it's a balance of both, because getting things made outside also saves time, and you're less involved in those tiny details that you get bogged down with in a project. And I see today as time as money. So getting more into the modular section is going to be the new in, which has already started picking up. But
Yes.
that little customization here and there is always important to add that personal touch.
So Poonam, do you think we have enough resources here for that?
We don't have enough. We still, as the consumption that we have, as the sort of market and the explosion that's happening in India, the amount of work that's going on, India can still set up more furniture factories, and because there's so much that is.
I
that
completely
is the
second you
need.
on that.
I myself have, when we decide, let's say, I've been a huge fan of what India is coming together, and I'm working with one of the best in the market. But I'm hoping to get more, because the minute I give them 1, 2, 3 projects, I know that at some point they're already exhausted. And I'm sure a lot of other designers are also working with them. So then I move to, trying to find other solutions. So yeah, we are still curating a lot from Italy and China and Dubai and etc. So especially accessories, lights, I'm still finding a huge sort of void here. So I feel, yes, if one can still see opportunities, and there are a lot of factories coming up, there are a lot of manufacturing, there are a lot of furniture makers that are coming together and pulling out amazing stores. So there should be more. Why not? Because there is a huge consumption. There is a lot of huge market in India today.
So the takeaway is, it is a huge market, and we don't only need designers. We need product designers in our country. We need factories to make furniture. So once you become an interior designer or an architect, the avenue is not only to design precisely into, one segment. You could explore a lot of things. There is lots to do.
I'm today, or everyone's who's sitting here, I mean, there is just not interior design, architecture, or, those are not the only mediums that you want to just work for an architecture firm or an interior. You can become a product designer, you can become a textile designer, you can actually work in these factories and work with AI and kind of work with technology that could bring in a completely different solution. So just design is just limitless. I think we can't sort of just say that let's design and get a project, but there's a lot more to that.
So
a lot more fields, basically.
Coming to my last question, and I would put up an example first for that question and ask you guys after that is, we've been talking a lot about materials and process and everything. What comes first for you? Is it a certain kind of a material picked up from the market and put directly installed at your site? Or is it more of details? To give an example, I'd like to touch upon a good friend of ours, and I follow him personally. I think he's a great guy. His name is Red Rajiv, as I call him, right? So Rajiv always comes up with these great ideas where he's using very basic materials, probably kota. I saw precisely a video where he used kota, and he created wonderful form of it, and he studied a lot around kota, and then he really created wonderful flooring or wall cladding or something like that. So Karan, what is it for you? Do you also ponder upon that, or do you prefer picking up something and straight away using it?
No, of course, like I said, that curation is the key, like doing something different is the key. But it totally depends. I mean, I would at times just keep everything bare and basic so that I can play with all my loose pieces, And there's sometimes when we do get into like the details of the cladding and all of that. So this, for me, is extremely subjective. To the client, to the site, and to my mood. If you ask me right now, at the moment, what I do is my houses, my apartments that I do will be bare. Okay, my flooring is simple. Of course, I mean, like you have different floorings, right? But my flooring is simple. My walls are simple, and what I can do is bring in furniture pieces,
maybe
fabrics,
a quirky element somewhere which stands out as an accent.
Yeah, and which allows the user to also very quickly change it. If I do something which is in civil, which is solid, okay, they're not going to be able to change it after 5 years, for example, or 3 years, right? So, like we did a house in Chicago right now, 20,000 square foot, okay? He's not going to change until like he's retired because the amount of money that they've pumped in. right? So it was imperative for me to make it extremely muted, okay? But through the art, the furniture, the fabrics, 2 साल में मन उठ गया, चलो change
कर दो
और पूरा नया look आ जाएगा.
पूरा नया
So
look आ जाएगा.
that's what.
How do you touch upon that, Sonam?
Okay, the idea is to, not deter from the focus of the house, I feel. And when you're doing a house, like you use a material, I think everyone uses the same sort of materials and everything, but I feel like, what is the exact focus? Are you focusing on a particular area of the house? Are you focusing on a staircase particularly? When you touch upon that focus, I think you want to play with something, or maybe as he said, you want to keep everything muted and your focus is the furniture, or it's a particular element of the house, is it the view of the house? It is very centric to what the space is, what the client brief is, and what are you touching upon as a designer.
So brush upon, Karan says it's more of accent for him, and he wants to bring these quirky elements and wants to bring an accent through that. You say it might be an architectural element which could totally turn out as an accent for you, or just simply the view from the house that works wonderful for you. Shaheen, how about you?
As both of them said, it's very subjective and it's project based. So I'll give you an example. We don't start off with a material. We try and understand the client's requirement, the site requirement. So for example, we recently did up the Parsi Dairy Farm store. It's a 107-year-old legacy company. So the whole idea was to maintain that traditional values, yet give a modern twist to the young generation. And it was a very challenging project because we had to work with the dairy on. Okay? And the branding team had done the packaging and updated the entire packaging value to make it modern and appealing to the younger generation. So to balance the 107-year-old legacy with this and use the colors red, blue and white, which are their traditional colors. So we actually created the theme based on those 3 colors. And then we actually customized terrazzo flooring with red, white and blue chips inside. We use mosaic flooring that way. Even the display counters were not standard. We used traditional moldings to give the legacy. So every project actually narrates the material and the story. So you build up based on that.
Wonderful. So for you, it is more of details, using different materials, making in the brand standards, still making it look elegant.
True.
Wonderful. And the legacy, of course. Poonam, how about you?
I would say a little bit completely different. So the sort of clients that I have right now,
I love contradiction.
Very different to some of the projects that we are designing, 20,000 square feet and 30,000 square feet, 18,000 square feet. These are larger homes. So when the entire family is coming together, and of course we plan the house 10 years after, like, what's going to happen. The child's going to get married, they're going to have children. So that room is sort of planned in a very fluid way that this can eventually be renovated. But when we're designing, they definitely don't want to come back to it. They don't want to even change a thing for the next 10 years at least. So what do you design then? So that sort of solution, I understand when we come to urban life, I think people are ready to they want to keep changing and they're wanting change, but I have a lot of clients who don't want the change. They want something solid, timeless, and like permanent for the next 15, 20 years. So anything we talk, materials also, we're talking something that's always going to look timeless and going to look fresh even after 10 years or 20 years. So I think that sort of a problem solving is where I am, and I think it's interesting.
Great. So we started with timeless with Shaheen. We ended with timeless with Poonam.
I just want to add something here.
Please, Karan.
Like you said about materials and how we do it, for everyone who's a designer here, I'm a massive fan of Zaha Hadid, okay? And one of the documentaries that I saw of hers and a couple of structures that I've visited, like I would only travel to see structures designed by Zaha Hadid, okay? So there was this one documentary where I saw that her crux, her entire ethos is the layout, okay? As a designer, with whatever space you are given, if you have the layout planned right, okay, that in itself will give you that experience which no fancy material cladded on that space is going to give you, So if I talk about the Maxi Museum, the MA12 Museum in Rome, okay, it's completely bare, okay, there's nothing. Even if there is no art in that entire museum, you walk through that entire space, you come out, you will have tears in your eyes, and that's the magic of that space. All right. So what I totally believe in this. And when we're doing a house, we focus more on the layout. Even if it is like a 3,000 square foot apartment that we're doing in Bombay, we will make sure that how we maneuver around this whole space, that even if I don't have the fancy ass marble cladded on the wall, it is still going to give you that experience, and you will thank me for even like 10 years after. Like
Very true.
Wonderful. So I think we had some wonderful takeaways, guys. And are we up? Do we have time for a Q&A? Do you guys have some questions to ask? Lovely. I see lots of hands up. Can we give them a mic, please?
You don't have a mic. You can just shout.
Shout. Come on.
Yeah.
We had a conversation about a lot of things today. You asked a lot of questions. And to start with, I'm not a student, but I have a student mindset. So I think I'm allowed to ask this question. And Shaheen talked about timelessness. Sonam talked about blue color material and the comfort that you bring to the building. Karan talked about quirkiness and how boring the life can be without that. And Poonam talked about psychology and empathy. And like B.R. Kingles rightly said, empathy is a superpower in architecture. So I want you all to answer this question as designers and an architect. What is the role that architecture plays in our everyday life, as I believe that the research sector in our country is really underdeveloped and underrated as well. Poonam mentioned about other professions. Let's talk about textile and product designing as well, but what about research? So I want you to answer this question. What role does the built environment play in our everyday life, and how can it be life-changing? Thank you.
Who wants to take this? Come on, Sonam, go ahead.
Okay. That question is really something. Thank you. And you put it really well. I think you kind of assimilated us really well in 2 words.
Thank you.
What I want to say is when you're designing a space, I think habit is one thing. I think Poonam also touched upon the fact that she understands what the psychology of the family works like. Second, as designers, I think it's our role to uplift certain habit of a person. Like suppose if I am what I am in my house, but if I'm thinking about making a house, maybe for the next 5 years, I'm obviously going to think, how am I going to upgrade myself? And that's what we do for our clients as well. We want to upgrade their lifestyle. It doesn't mean that you have to spend a lot of money, but I think it's about your habits, how to upgrade your habit. You're obviously looking at, obviously there is a sort of a graph where you want to climb up. As designers, we're really focused on that. At least I feel like we focus on that as well. And then I know that clients have come and told us, now we have to kind of, think about how we can live better. And they feel like they've gotten a home eventually, which also brings tears to eyes because I feel like we've created something fantastic to last. Which I think all of us have spoken about as well. But I think it's about upgrading our lifestyle, and the role does lie with us.
Amazing.
So just to add on to that, as she said, we have the power to change lifestyles, okay?
Exactly.
And we should do it, and maybe starting small in our own ways. Probably I live in a Parsi colony, an old Parsi colony, where I am seeing difficulty in water problems and parking problems. How can I help in my way to probably improve that at my scale? And then, if each one starts with their own, so you individually can start with your own building, So that way you're making a small change in a big way. And then you start, growing. So using the power in the right way to help someone upgrade their lifestyle is something that we have and we should use in the right way.
I think you use the word research more than anything, but sadly, we're a bunch of people doing only smaller spaces. So research will depend on, which is going to depend for the rest, a lot of lives is on a larger scale than what we do. So
I think that's why I was thinking Gaurav should answer that,
Yeah.
because you're working on some extremely large even if it's hospitality, but you're upgrading and you're sort of people who are coming there, sort of what is the...
Yeah, the demography is too, huge. Like it's not, I always tell my, colleagues in office and also my clients that, we are not particularly designing for our client. When we design a hotel, we're not designing it for a, owner of the hotel or the brand we are designing it for. We're actually designing it for the kind of people who will be the guest of that hotel. So we always try to understand what that guest needs. Where are we putting the hotel? We're putting the hotel right in the center of Electronic City in Bombay, right? In Bangalore. So what are we putting that for? We are saying that these will be the IT professionals traveling for work, living out there for 30 days or 15 days or 20 days. So we really do research about their requirements. And it's not only us who research, it's basically the brand standards which are set upon a lot of research. But this is all in private sector, like hotels, right? It's private sector. There is not government building hotels. So we really want that to come in. And then, as Shaheen correctly said, right? Build up the communities. Look about where he lives in Parsi Colony, the water problems, or the entire suburbs of Bombay, where there is so much water logging problem. So there is a lot to look at. But yes, in a smaller place where we are, at least when we design hotels, we make sure we design it for the guest of the hotel. And owner is, of course, the client, but we do it still for the guest of the hotel. And what is their requirement, thinking about that. So there is definitely a lot of research that goes around there, but nothing is enough.
So you must be researching a lot, Gaurav, on where, like you just said, Bangalore as a, like that's the corporate thing. Yeah. But if you're in a beautiful heritage locality, then the heritage of that sort of area and what people are coming there. So a lot of tourism is happening in that area. So then the hotel sort of should resonate the entire...
Absolutely. It doesn't stop there. It's not, something which is set like it's Bangalore, Electronic City, so IT is only going to be the consumer. A lot of times we are posed with the challenge. We are posed with the challenge where, on a hill we have given a small fort, which is a 150-year-old fort, which is right now not being used by anybody. And there are great opportunities coming up over there because Government of India, with the tourism department, is picking up those places. And when they have the ownership, they are ready to lease it out. So it's a business opportunity where they want to lease it out to people, those who will have to pay a small amount, and then they have the lease for 30 years. And then what you got to do is you got to invest in it. So our clients come to us, they say, "Meko ye 30-year-old, 100 saal purana fort mila hai, isko hotel mein convert karna hai. What could be the business?" Now here, we don't have a sense already in place. We don't have an example in place. We create one.
Sorry to cut you out.
No, it's okay.
I understand that that is the research, and what we're doing right now is also a segment of research, right?
True.
But I want you to answer.
Go ahead.
I would like to know, like, what role will the hospitality project play in someone's life?
What role will hospitality project play in someone's life?
Yes, that is also a part of built environment. So how will that contribute to someone?
After COVID, we've become so serious about holidays and travel and work-life balance, right? So many things to touch upon, like, what are we earning for? What is a common man earning for? To enjoy his time with his family, and holidays are so important for that. So we definitely try to make that segment better so that common man enjoys it. And I'm sorry now, I'll have to cut you out because I already have a message that we're running quite over time.
Thank you, all
Lovely,
of you.
lovely for all you guys to be here. Yeah. Guys, over to you. Somebody want to come up? There are more questions? Go ahead, please.
Short questions, okay?
Short
Online
questions,
answers.
please. Yeah.
Good afternoon, panel.
We can hear you.
So, it was very good to hear you all. I just want to know your point of view about the material palette of Prasanna More, PMM Madhushala. As last year I visited his stores in Pune, Eolith and Paris. So, Prasanna More, PMM Madhushala.
PMM Madhushala.
I've not been there.
No,
I don't even know what that
I've
is.
been there.
I'm
sorry.
So,
but we will check it up after this panel sometime.
Can you give me the details? I'll check it
And
out.
Poonam can post a story
Definitely,
on Instagram.
I'll do a story and then it will go viral and Karan can... No, it will not go viral just like that. I'll post it, then Karan will repost and then it goes viral.
Yeah, we look at it.
Sorry.
like his material palette is quite minimal and not much of bold. While
Sure.
if I'm looking into his projects, the form is very loud.
Sure.
So it is very opposite, the material and compared to the form. So do you think that material should follow form or vice versa?
Exactly where we say that it could just be a very, for me, form definitely shouts louder. For a material is a secondary, that's sort of the application on that, right? So material has, for something that is a very bold structure, you can choose to go for a very muted sort of a material. And that's what I think you're trying to say, that, and still the entire visual can be very bold. It's not about just using a pop color for it to scream bold. It could just mean a very, very large sort of a structural material. That itself, the form itself, screaming loud.
Like Shaheen already said that in his conversation, where he first decides his form, then he thinks about the material as to what will work for that form.
It's also project-based, as you're saying. If I have an ashram or I have a museum, I can go bold with form and not need any material.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Should I?
Yeah.
Okay.
May I?
She really wants me to stop, guys. Go ahead.
Last one.
She has the mic there. Sorry. I don't want to
That's
say
the last question.
Go ahead. Quick one, please.
Okay. So, hello, I'm Lisha. I'm from Surgical College of Architecture, final year student. It was really great to have you all here. I was very excited, like, as we talk about sustainable terms, in terms of interiors or future of architecture and interiors. And while we are using the materials, we say as we discussed, like, we change interiors in 3 or 4 years. So what about the materials we have used earlier? Like, should we bring that wave of recycling the materials in
Absolutely.
terms of...
Absolutely. Karan said that he loves to create a background of his houses which is very balanced, which is very neutral, which could any day take up, maybe just the new art, artifacts, or just changing of the upholstery, or such quirky things which could bring in a completely new look, which would be trending then. But I believe you still want to complete your question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So how can we as architects and interiors can bring that influence in people to explore, or in students especially, to just not use the materials we are provided with, but to explore new materials and like trying the different combinations and moving towards sustainability, because that will be the future, or that will be the next generation material thought process to like...
Can I answer this real quickly?
Go ahead, please.
Hi, thank you for the question. What the idea of an architect, I think, is I feel if you build something that's going to last for the next 100 years, even if you use the materials that are supposed to be used, you don't feel the need to break something down, and the building is going to last for a very long time, and it will be ecological eventually, rather than you building something which is like short-lived and then you break it again and you make something and you break it again. So I think if you think of it from all the monuments in the world that have been there for a very long time, I think those are the strongest sustainable buildings that are there so far. You could obviously diverge upon other things, but this is what I strongly believe in.
Can I? So quick one to add, this is when we say residential, it's for private use. When we say hotels, just to give you a perspective for that, it's business, right? It's more serious about ROI, return on investment. So if an investor is investing so much money in it, and he has to renovate because he has to stay trendy to stay in the market, right? So we need to make sure that we keep our material palette neutral enough to change it after 5 years without dismantling too many hard or civil or things such that it could be quickly turned around. So that is, of course, the way. I'd like to end here, and over to you, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's give it up for all the panelists, also the students.